Hello everyone. Happy Thursday. All right. I think I've got that zoomed in. How's everyone doing today? We have some fabulous weather here in Calgary for winter, that's for sure. Okay, perfect. I've popped up on Facebook there. I'll pull you guys up on my computer. That now is decided to update or something. Hi, Christy. Okay. Hi, Jenny. All right, I think everybody's still there. Sorry, my phone wanted, oh, hang on. For some reason, my phone wanted my passcode. All right. And I'm just going to, I think I'm in the wrong browser here. This is what happens when you have more than one browser on your computer and you forget which one you logged into last time. How's everyone doing? We are going to kind of take a look at a few goodies here. We're kind of, now that the postal strike is over, I'm not sure what Sandy may have ordered in, what might be coming in. So sort of winging it by the seat of my pants here on the Facebook Live, but all right. I think I've got the right browser open here now. What's everyone up to today? Yeah, we're going to take a look at a couple of different things here. So I picked this up. This is Winter's Veil. And I know it's like, you would think, why would we be looking at winter stuff? But technically it is still winter for a little while longer. But I thought we'd kind of take a look at some of this line. It's really beautiful, just to give you an idea how easy it is to use this line. And then, yeah, we're going to take a look, a little bit of a close-up look at the World Traveler die set from Tim Holtz. That's part of the vault. And bear with me, I'm sorry if I don't see your comments right away. I apologize. My browser is not really cooperating very well here right now. Okay. Let's see. I haven't had this particular computer open for a few days, so that might be my problem. All right. You know what? We are just going to carry on. Maybe I'll try my other laptop. And I'll get you guys up on here. Yeah, we'll have to deal with that one later. Okay. So what's everyone up to today? Jenny, you said you're just hanging out watching. Hi, Jennifer. Hello, everyone who's popped in that if I haven't said hello to you yet. Thanks for popping in. And all right, perfect. All right, just working, Jenny. Awesome. Okay. All right, I'm ready to roll here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I can see you guys. I'm just, oh, hang on. That's not gonna work. Okay. So, I love the card Carla made last week. She is so good with those Lavinia stamps. Does anyone own those? Oh, my camera seems to have turned here. I don't own any. I'm always so inspired by other people's projects with that, but I kind of struggle to use those stamps. So it's nice when you can kind of see them being used in person. Okay, so let's take a look here at Winter's Veil. I'm just going to slide this guy out of the way. I picked this up before Christmas, thinking that I might do some Christmas cards with them because it actually has some really you can really make some really easy cards with these. But you could also make a winter card. Like this would be beautiful for people who have winter birthdays. But I've picked up here the 8x8 set, and what I really like about this is you can kind of cut these, if you like mixing your patterns in that, you can cut these down and they'd be really, really easy to use on scrapbook layout. So the 8x8 package has 36 sheets of cardstock, and I just want to show you the back of the cover piece is actually printed tags that are silver foil. So you can cut these out and, you know, create gift tags with them, or little journal mats, anything like that. But so the 36 sheets, so that means you're getting, let's see, I think you're getting 3 or 4, 3 of each pattern. Okay, so there's our snowflake, the larger snowflakes, and then the back side is kind of these snowflake borders. Okay, this one's really pretty. So this is like a galaxy, and then with your stars in the sky, and then the back side is just white with stars. Okay, and we are going to put, I'm going to put together a quick little card with these, just to kind of, with one of these, some of these, just to kind of show you how easy it is to put something together. Hello, Irene. Okay, we've got this really pretty pattern, and then the back side is also some smaller snowflakes. Okay, and I'm going to set this aside because we're going to do something with that in a little bit. Wood grain pattern, can't go wrong with that. The colors are beautiful. And then the back side of this, you know, really you could use this for autumn as well. Oh, can you imagine pairing like maybe an orange or something with this, some fall orangey colors? That would be really beautiful. Okay, we've got this sheet that is Winter Wishes. So this, you could kind of cut that down along there and make a really easy card. Or if you happen to do December Daily and you haven't put that book together yet, this would be a beautiful line to use for that. Now we've got some poinsettia pattern here. Okay, and then the back side is a stripe. So always handy to use, and this would work really well for like a winter birthday or masculine birthday cards if you use the non kind of wintry side. Okay, we've got this really pretty pattern here, our reindeer, or I guess deer. I don't know if they're reindeer. And then that nice little gingham in the back. Okay, and here we've got another kind of wood grain with some Christmas ornaments. That's really pretty. And then when we flip the back side, again, some snowflakes. I can just see lots of possibilities with this. Okay, and now we've got another snowflake type of paper, and then the back side is like a mini chevron. So really, really easy to use. Hello, Irene. Okay, and oh, this is beautiful. We've got a gorgeous, Irene, I'm not sure if this is the one that she had the bundle sale on. I looked in the store last night. I know we've got the 8x8. There might be a 12x12 in there as well. I can't remember now. But then we've got this paper. So it's similar to that other one I showed you. That's the galaxy, but we've got silver foil stars on that side. And then the back side is a wood grain pattern. So just gorgeous with the foil. And then we've got the stars. And then I'm just going to tip that. Yeah, I think you can see that. You can see that silver foiled stars. Okay, super pretty. And then we've got another of, oh, and then this is, so we did have another set of papers with these ornaments here, but then the back side, we've got the Winter Wishes is printed in silver foil. Okay, so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now with these ones, I picked up the foiled toppers. Okay, so this has, let's say 2 each of the topper sheets. So if you're thinking that you kind of need a few more Christmas cards. If you did get your scent out, or you just decided not to make them and just kind of skip ahead to the following year, to 2025, you can get a really great head start on them with this collection. And the toppers are beautiful here. So they're all silver foiled. And so many of these you can use as standalone sentiments. Okay, you could just die cut that pattern paper, maybe mat your sentiment, and this is pretty. So we've got winter wishes, we've got our deer. So really, really gorgeous line. So I'm just going to show you, I did a little bit of cutting ahead of time. We can just put together, we're going to put together just, I'm just calling it a winter card. It's not really a Christmas card, but it's a winter card. So I trimmed up this, if I can find it here, I trimmed up this kind of sky galaxy paper. Here we are. This guy here. Sorry for not saying that, Benita. So it is Tonic. Let me just show you the front cover here. Okay, there we go. So it's Tonic Studios Winter's Veil. Okay, so that is in the shop. Okay, and so what I've done is I've trimmed this card down, and actually this would really make a really beautiful winter birthday card if you know someone who's got a winter birthday. So I've got that trimmed down to just a little bit under 5.5 by 4 1/4, and then I've trimmed a mat for that as well. But we're just gonna kind of simply trim this guy out. I'm just going to cut a piece of the top row of those cottages, and I'm just going to go right straight across with my trimmer. Okay. And what I'm going to do is just place that along the edge here, and we'll just trim off the edge. But before I do that, I'm just going to do a little bit of inking, just to show you how you can kind of put together just a really simple card with these papers kind of letting the pattern work for you. So I thought let's do just a little bit of inking along the edges here, kind of darken up our sky a little bit. So I'm just using some distressed oxide in chipped sapphire. I'm going to grab myself a piece of scrap paper here real quick because I'm kind of lazy, so I don't have to clean my craft mat. Okay, so I'm just going to come along the edge here and just lightly add a little bit of inking. Kind of darken up those edges. So I always find it's kind of after Christmas, I actually don't mind playing around a little bit with, you know, I've always got a few cards that I haven't quite finished, or I had good intentions and maybe did some extra stamping or die cutting and didn't finish them. So it's kind of nice to play around sometimes with those pieces when you're not under the gun for Christmas. And because the postal strike kind of put a damper on getting cards out, just feels like there's a little bit more time to do that. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of that ink as well along the top edge here. Maybe what I will do is kind of trim this off so that I can get the other edge. So we're going to I should measure it. So I know it was just a little bit under 5.5. Let me just make sure I'm there so I don't have it too short. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, excellent. I want to add a little bit more ink. Oh, okay, great, Irene. Did you get the bundle sale? I actually didn't even see it. Oh, stamps and embossing folders. Yeah, clearly I missed those. So did you pick it up, Irene? Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful set. Stamp, yeah. Okay, so we've added a little bit of inking and kind of blending in the top edge here of my sky. Hello, Cynthia. And I'm gonna grab my glue. Oh, a while ago. Okay. I guess I didn't pay attention. Oh dear. Actually, now that you mention that, Irene, that is starting to twig in my head. Because I think it had some really beautiful embossing folders, didn't it? Okay. So we're going to glue that down. And then I'm going to add that to my little black cardstock mat as well. Hi, Cynthia. Oh. You are fine. You are not late being a gong show. You're never a gong show. We're just all passionate crafters, right? No such thing as gong shows for us. Okay. So I'm going to pop that on here. Almost half price off. She only, yeah, that would have gone. Yeah, I mean, when Sandy gets those bundles together, she's got just some fabulous prices on that stuff. All right, so I am going to trim that edge a little bit, and I think I didn't line that up straight, but oh well. No one will notice, unless they're looking really hard. Okay, so I'm just going to trim a little smidgy off the edge here, so it just looks a little more even. And I love these Tim Holtz trimmers. It is so easy to take just a thin little strip off the edge without, you know, tearing the paper or anything like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to grab a sentiment, and I think we'll do just warm wishes. Because then I feel if I do warm wishes, I could, on the inside of the card, put, you know, warm wishes on your birthday, or yeah, I could put warm wishes, and then on the inside we could write on your birthday, and then this could be a winter birthday card. So I'm going to pop that up. Just grab my foam adhesive. Still working with my giant Altenew roll. Oh, that's a good idea, Irene. Yeah, that'd be perfect for that. Yeah, I love these colors. They're so pretty. Okay, and I don't know what it is. I always have to hoard this foam tape, so if I don't need the full piece, I'll cut it in half. This one actually tears really nice too. There we go. If you have to. I did a terrible job tearing that straight, but I'm not going to lose that piece. All right. The Altenew roll, Cynthia, I'll have to look. The last time I looked, it was out of stock, but she can definitely order that in for you. I think now that the postal strike is over and, you know, things are starting to move in the mail again, then I imagine Sandy will start looking at kind of putting in orders at the various retailers. Okay, so we're going to pop that up, warm wishes. But yeah, if you want her to order some of that in for you, just drop her an email at sandy@scrapshots.com with that. Okay, and so I'll put this on a card base later, but super, super simple. And you could add, if you wanted to add some bling onto this too, some silver bling, that would be really pretty as well, but really simple. And so we've just kind of made those patterns work for us. I think if I do another one like this, I might kind of tear the edge up here. I think that would look really pretty, look a little bit more, I don't know, less structured. Okay, so that is the Tonic Winter's Veil paper and the toppers. Okay, so just to give you an idea of that one, and then the toppers. Okay, so let's move on. going to clean this up here. So I kind of thought, you know, thinking of kind of what to show you guys and kind of do a little crafting, I thought, well, why don't I pull out some things that I haven't had a chance to use yet. So I bought these before Christmas. Oh. And forgotten to take the bag. Yeah, I've done that too. Okay. So I bought these before Christmas because I kind of got, I don't know if you guys have a chance to watch Tim Holtz's lives. And so when he did these lives with this from the vault, so this is actually a set that I believe it was the dies were larger sized, and then Tim Holtz kind of redid a few of the smaller, or a few of those vault sets into kind of smaller versions. So this is one of them. Oh, good, Irene. Well, it's a beautiful layout. So yeah, so I thought I'd pull these out and we could play with this a little bit. So, you know, you get your Tim Holtz Sizzix out, so why not bring in some other Tim Holtz products that I know I haven't used a whole ton. So I thought I'd pull out my embossing glazes, and rather than kind of do some of this die cutting from colored cardstock, we're going to use these glazes to just essentially make our own cardstock, colored cardstock. So the first thing I want to do is, and let me just show you these dies here real quick. So this set comes with the full alphabet. So you've got the 26 letters and then all these numbers. It comes with that arrow right here, the short one, and then the longer one, the airplane, and then we've got the globe. Okay, so when you're cutting out the globe, you're going to use both these dies to cut that out. Okay. And then if you want to cut out the kind of the backing that will show through these colors here, you just use this circle by itself. And then it's also got a cloud, a little cloud. I'll just put that on here. And then we've got the continents as well. Okay, so we're going to use embossing glaze and make our own kind of make our own colored cardstock for this. Okay, and then I haven't actually decided what I'm going to do with the globe once it's done. It could be in my mini art journal. It might be on a card front. I'll have to share that with you after I figure out what I'm going to do with it. But first things first, so I've got just a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to grab, you can either use, if you had like this embossing dauber, works great, or let me grab my embossing ink pad. I think there it is. Or the good old Versamark embossing ink pad, or whichever one you have. I know there's lots of different types of embossing ink pads nowadays. So, and I know that looks terrible, but honestly, it's still, I've had this thing forever and it works great. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just go right direct to paper and just get a whole bunch of embossing ink down on here. Okay. And I can feel, I can feel it just going on there. I feel like this ink pad, no, it's good. I think it's still juicy. So because I'm die cutting this, it doesn't really matter kind of what the embossing ink looks like when it gets on the paper, as long as my powder is going to stick. So I'm going to assume that I've got enough on there. And then I've pulled out Broken China embossing glaze and Uncharted Mariner embossing glaze. So we're going to use those two. I'm just going to grab myself another piece of, kind of didn't really mean to put my clear embossing ink on that piece of scrap paper, but I did. Okay. So now super simple, just going to sprinkle some, so making sure that's, okay, great. So I know I got coverage because it's sticking. So I'm just kind of going to randomly put the Broken China down. It doesn't really matter which color you do first. Okay. I'm going to pour that excess back into my jar. So I want the background of my world, kind of my oceany, my sea colors, to be 2 different shades of blue. Okay, so now I'll grab the Uncharted Mariner. Okay. And we'll just sprinkle that on randomly as well. So I basically only need a layer that's going to be big enough to die cut my circle out of. So I think that's good. We'll add a little bit more there. That'll work. Now this embossing glaze, it's a translucent glaze. So if you wanted your colors to be more vibrant, or maybe just have a hint of being a little bit darker, you could use, you could use the same color of ink on your paper before and then do your embossing on top. Okay, so we'll just heat up the heat gun. Hello, Carly. All right. I'm just going to start it from the bottom a little bit. The only reason being I have a few kind of random bits over here. I just don't want to blow them all over my table. Okay, so let me just hold that up so you can see that embossing glaze start to melt. So if I would have used the Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxide and the Broken China Distress Oxide ink underneath, then they would just be a little bit more in depth in the color. Okay. And I'm just heating that a little bit longer. So you'll see it start to melt, and then you'll get a nice sheen on it. Okay. Okay, and so if you wanted to even darken up the color a little more, I could add another layer of clear embossing ink over top of that, and then add the powders again. But we're just gonna do that one time, okay? So I'm going to set that aside. We're going to die cut this out in a moment. But I did die cut the globe here before coming live, just to make things go a little quicker. Okay. So for this guy, I'm going to use a combination of the Spellbinders Liquid Platinum embossing powder, and then we're going to mix in Vintage Photo and Rusty Hinge embossing glaze. Okay, just to kind of give us a you know, maybe a bit more of a vintagey kind of distressed look. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing and just get my embossing ink all over here. Now, I'm not too worried about the areas with the continents because we're going to make those a different color. We've got the die cuts that we're going to die cut and then layer that over top. So it's really our little grid there that we're wanting to get the ink on. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to switch papers here. Okay. And then we're going to sprinkle on I'll just hold on to it here. Just kind of randomly pop that on the silver. Okay. So I'm just tapping that lightly, and we'll clean up that powder. So this would be a really fun way too, if you've got a bunch of these embossing glazes, just to kind of play around with the different colors. How they mix together, do they mix together? Okay, for different effects. And now I'm going to do the, whoops, rusty hinge. Okay, and again, we'll just tap that on lightly. Guess it's not really that big a deal if it's light or not. Okay. Okay. So we can see we've got, I see a little piece there that needs some on there. Okay. And let me just quickly clean that up. And then I'm going to add a little bit of vintage photo. Okay, and that's going to stick to really any areas that the embossing powder or the embossing glaze hasn't adhered to yet. So I'm going to put the lid on, and I always put the lid on as soon as I'm finished with it. I've learned a lesson the hard way. And this one I haven't opened yet, so I'm just going to quickly get that open. I used to have 2 Versamark ink pads, and then I dropped my rose gold embossing powder, the entire jar, all over my ink pad, so it was unsalvageable. I don't know if I was more annoyed by the ink pad being unsalvageable or losing all that rose gold embossing powder, because it was so pretty. So I can't remember which companies it was and if they make it anymore. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go over the top with the vintage photo. Okay. So now I've got a nice little mix there of the 3 colors. Oh, and that was not the sheet I wanted to use. Oh well, some of this is gonna stick to the paper. Yep. We'll get off what we can. All right. All right, tweezers. I'm gonna pop the lid on here. And now we're going to heat set this guy. Now we do have a bunch of embossing glazes in the shop, so if it's something that you're kind of enjoying the possibilities and want to give it a try, you can, try out a couple of different colors. Okay, and I'm going to just lift that up here so you'll see there's our platinum, our Spellbinders Platinum embossing powder, and then the glaze. Okay. So after I do the continents, if I need to, I may need to, it looks like there's a few little edges here that maybe didn't really get any powder on them or much, so I might have to go back in. Although I don't mind that. It's kind of got a little yellowish tinge. I kind of like that. Okay. So let's set our globe aside now. And now I'm going to bring in the last piece. So I want to create the land masses. Okay, so for this one, I thought, why not put down some peeled paint Distress Oxide first. And we should be able to just go right over the top with the embossing powder if we work quickly, because the oxide needs a little bit of time to dry. Not as long as clear embossing ink, but I have embossed with Distress Oxide before. So I think if I get that layer nice and thick over the top, we should be able to work through this quick enough. Because we're going to add a couple of different colors of embossing glaze over top of this as well. Okay, and that should, just going to make sure that fits. Okay, perfect, that will fit both. So let's see if this stays wet enough long enough. If not, I might have to go over it with clear embossing ink, but let's try with just the oxide. Save ourselves a set. Yeah, I agree, Cynthia. I often don't think about using multiple embossing powders, and I'm just gonna go, let's see, Oh, perfect. See, that is adhering. Okay. Just gonna do a little bit here and there. You could come in with a bit of rusty hinge if you wanted to. I'm just going to, I'll make use of this other piece of paper. I want to move quickly, so I don't want to take the time to put that away. Okay, and so then I've got some peeled paint. So because this is the same color of the ink underneath it, it should just kind of be a little bit more intense of a color, let's say. Okay, so we're still getting some nice adhesion to the Distress Oxide ink. So let's add just a little bit of Vintage Photo to that, if it's still wet enough. Just to add a little bit of, I think this is, yeah, a little bit of brown. Okay. So just a hint, there we go. Little drop here and there, but you could just come in as well and just sprinkle. That would work too. Oh, I like that. And then you could kind of carry on the process after we heat set this and just keep adding more layers of embossing glaze over top. All right, let me get the lid on the last one here. Okay. All right. There we go. Get my heat tool, we'll heat that up. All right. Just gonna hold that up here. So, oh, there we go. Now you can see it melt. All right. Okay. Pretty. So it looks a little bit like a hot mess, but remember, we are die cutting this, okay? So now we've got our various pieces here. I'm just gonna grab my die cut machine. I should have pulled this out earlier, but it won't take very long. I'm gonna use our little baby Scout. Let me just make sure that, yep, that die will fit through the opening. Cutting plate. All right. I don't know if you have one of these. I mean, it's more cute than anything. It's the cuteness factor. I think that's what got me on this, right? It's like baby shoes. Baby shoes are super cute. All right. So we'll just open that up. Okay, and what I will have to do, because I'm using my Scout, I'm just going to need to trim my paper so that it will fit through here. Because it's not going to make it through if it's wider than the platform, the paper. All right, so that'll work. And then we'll just going to scooch this over this way a little more. Hang on. Just like that. Okay. And because this is really smooth, if you don't want it to move it all on you, you want it to be in that particular spot, then you might need to use a little washi tape. All right. I'm going to roll that through. Sorry, forgive the shake of the camera. I know it is adorable, isn't it, Cynthia? I don't need one. Like, it's not like I don't already own a smaller die cut machine. Okay, so there is our background there. RC. So now you can see when I bring in that globe on top, we're going to layer that over that. Okay. And I kind of like how this, I feel like it didn't quite get powder on these little edges, but it's almost kind of makes it look like it's 3D. Although that doesn't really matter because that's going to be covered up. Okay, so we've got those two done. Now let's do our continents. And okay, I don't usually have my nails done, so it has made it a little bit challenging for crafting. They're probably not going to last much longer. Funnily enough, it's the texting thing that's been a bit of the biggest pain. Having long nails, because I can't quite, I'm always hitting the wrong, you know, the wrong letter. All right, so let's roll it back through this way. Okay. I think I only needed it one way through. I might need to, let's see. Oh, I think it worked. Oh yeah, I think it went all the way through. Okay. So there's a couple little pieces here. There we go. Need to poke that out. That's one part of our globe. And then we've got just a couple of pieces here that I'm just gonna, it works with the edge of the die. Okay. And there's our other one. So now we can bring this in. And so you have a couple of options here if you want to pop this up. Okay, so we're going to layer that right over the top here. Okay, so I can see by lining this up that I'm going to want to come back in with that, my embossing ink, and just make sure I get these edges here. Okay. So we'll do that before we glue this guy on. Let's see, that goes right over top of those areas on our globe. Okay, and then that's gonna go right across like that. Okay, so let's add a little bit more to the edge here, and we'll just add a little bit more silver and probably vintage photo. Okay, so because I'm just kind of doing that little edge, I'm going to bring in the embossing dauber, and this is just the Ranger clear embossing dauber. I think there's one in the store. It might not be this exact one. I can't remember which one it is. Okay, so I'm just going to go around that edge there. Make sure I've got, I'm sure that's more than enough. Yeah, so I can feel it on the ink on there, so I know it's more than enough. Okay, so we'll sprinkle the Spellbinders Platinum just a little bit up top here. Okay, and then we'll add some vintage photo to that. Okay, and my vintage photo. So super fun to play around with these. Whoops. And I'm going to add a wee bit of rusty hinged just in that in-between spot. Probably doesn't really matter, but we got him out, might as well use him. Okay. This embossing glaze is fine, so it kind of does feel like, oh, I feel like I'm doing a good job getting it back in the jar, but it still feels like it's getting all over the place. But that's okay. That's what vacuum cleaners are for, and Swiffers. Okay. Perfect. All right. So we'll just get that heat set. Yeah, this is a fun die. Did anybody pick any of you pick up any of these releases when they were out, the vault ones? I know, I think Stacy, one of the girls, I think Stacy got some of the Christmas ones, which are really pretty. I think she has the one with Santa in a sleigh, and it's really cute. I got this world one, and then I also got, I don't know if you guys have seen this one, I also got this one, which is like the little slide reel and film strip. I haven't done anything with it yet, but that's on my list of things to do. Okay, so let's see now when we put this down, we can see that what little edge peeks out is all covered. Just to show you there, you can see that little edge now is all embossed. So let's, what do you guys think? Foam tape? I think so. Let's foam tape it. I've got some smaller pieces here already. So we can just trim these out. We should be able to do it fairly reasonably quickly. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop that on here. That there. We've got, all depends what I end up doing with this. So what do you guys think? Should I turn this into a card eventually? Or actually, this would be really fun even for your scrapbook layouts. Maybe not necessarily this level of embossing, but if you could kind of use it in like a mini album, for example, of a travel mini album, kind of a unifying theme with a globe or a world here and there throughout your album. Oh, you got the one with skates? Yeah, that one's awesome. I like that one. It's when you watch those lives, I find, when I watch Tim's lives, when they're releasing those, like the projects are so inspiring. And then I get all enthusiastic about the die set and I have to have it, and then it kind of sits in my craft room while I try to figure out what I'm going to do with it. So, but not this year. This year is the year of just do something with everything that comes into your craft room. And if after you've made something with that, you decide that, you know what, I kind of liked that at the time when I bought it, but it's not my favorite, then just move it along. Share with friends, pass it on. Okay, I'm going to cut this piece a little thinner, and then I'm going to use my tweezers here, and then I'll just trim that off. Hello, Judy. Okay, so who is all going to the carnival? I think I saw that registration started. Or it happened. I can't remember which. I saw something on Facebook about it. Yeah, the cover of a mini album for sure, Jennifer. That would be great. So, yeah, I have no idea if the carnival is sold out yet or not. I don't know the Creative Scrapbooker magazine's Great Canadian Scrapbook Carnival. Hopefully we'll see some of you there, because Scrap Shots will be there. We'll have our great big booth just right when you get inside the door. So we'll probably start planning for that fairly soon because it comes up quickly. All right. Okay, so I think before I put these guys on, I'm going to glue this flat to here, but I am going to need to kind of put something heavy on top of it. really quickly. Oh, I know, Irene. That'd be awesome if maybe one year you could come. How's progress on your homecoming, Irene? Okay. I wanted to go, so you ordered twice. That's funny. Oh, right on, Benita. You'll be in Edmonton. We'll be in Edmonton too. I wasn't able to go last year to Edmonton, so I'm looking forward to going this year. All right. So you just kind of want to decide what kind of pieces you want, what part of that blue you want showing where. So I'm going to do it this way. Okay, and then let's see. I might just set my Scout right on top of it. Just for a moment. There we go. Just for a moment to keep that down. Yeah, the shows are fun. Honestly, it's tiring and busy, but lots of fun. Okay. So I may cut out this little airplane later. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Haven't thought that far ahead yet. And the clouds too. I like the cloud. Cloud is fun. Okay. So we'll see if that might be good enough, as long as I don't fuss around with it too much. All right. Oh, for VIP members right now? Okay. So I imagine it will open to the public fairly soon, registration. Hello, Melanie. All right, so I'm just gonna peel this release paper. And honestly, this Altenew release paper, it peels off so easily. I think we've all experienced double-sided foam adhesive where you're like, ah, this stuff is awful that it's so hard to get the backing off. Okay, now, because this is, I've got like embossing powder underneath, I am going to add a little bit of liquid glue to that foam tape. Just because it's a slick surface that I'm adhering this to. So just to make sure, A, it will stay, and B, it also gives me a little bit of, you can see how I can just shift that a little bit because it's liquid glue. Oh, that is so awesome. Cute. Wow, love that. And the nice thing with this globe is it's not, 35 different dies just to make that. Not that there's anything wrong with 35 different dies. It's just sometimes nice with die sets when you've got, let's see, my nails won't cooperate, when you don't have a, when it's just a little bit simpler, I should say, to put together. Okay. So just making sure I've got the release paper off. Okay, we have to do that guy too. All right, and these guys over here. So with this one, you just have to be a little bit, there's like that really tiny spot there that if I could get some foam tape under there would probably be a good idea. But if you don't want to deal with foam with this, and especially just to show you how this is quite a narrow strip here, you could just, after you've embossed, cut your pieces out of your embossed cardstock or whatever colored cardstock, you could just cut some extra like maybe 3 or 4 layers of white cardstock, or if you've got like a thicker or more heavyweight white cardstock, you could do a couple of layers of that. Glue this onto that, and then glue that onto here, and then you would still get the effect of dimension without having to use little pieces of tape, and then like a more narrow area like that, where it could have the could possibly come apart, that would all be protected. It would all be one layer. Okay, so let me just make sure I have this on here right. So we're going to start up here. Okay, I'm just going to gently put that on there and then just slide it around where I need to. All right. So you can see I just have to slide that up. Thanks, Benita. Hi, Judy. All right, and there we go. So I'll slide that there. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry because I want to make sure it's nice and dry before I kind of fuss around and do anything else with that. So guys, what would you like to see me do with this? Because I'm going to finish this off camera and that, but you know what? I'm gonna surprise you. So you're just gonna have to wait and see. I will post a photo of what I make with this finished product, and I will also use all the other dies as well. So the airplane, the clouds, and some of the letters, and then you can get a good idea of the scale of, you know, for example, the letters to the globe and all that. Yeah, it is a great die set. Yeah, so to recap, we took a look here at the World Travel die, okay, from Tim Holtz and Sizzix. And then we also took a close-up look at the Tonic Winter's Veil. Okay, so we looked at the toppers and the pattern papers, the 8x8 pattern papers. Okay, so I will get this card posted on the Facebook page for you guys as well. And then we'll surprise you with what I do with that. Okay, so hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with me. Oh, and I should say, we are planning this right now, but we are going to have a virtual, well, an online crop. Okay, so we're going to have an online crop. It's going to run February 14th to the 17th in the Scrap Shots Paper Crafting Friends group. So if you're not a member, make sure you join that group, and we're going to have a bunch of challenges for you, and it's going to be fairly low key. So we're not going to overwhelm you with challenges, but hopefully you can just mark that on your calendars and you have time to come and hang out with us. I'm glad you love surprises, Benita. All right, so thanks everybody for hanging out with me today. Carla will be back next week, and yeah, have a fantastic day, and hopefully you guys get to do some crafting, and stay tuned. We'll have more info coming about that online crop very, very soon. Okay, take care everyone. Have a fantastic day. Bye.